I'm Jennifer Runyon at SPI 2013, and this is day 3 of the show. And I'm talking right now with some people who are doing excellent work in Chicago, putting solar in urban areas. And so we've got Faustina and Van from VGI Energy. So let's just jump right in and have you guys explain what you do.
VOV Development is our parent company, and we're a full-service development company. And housing was one of our core fundamental practices. And so through the process of development, we found that preservation was the first key. Secondly, there was energy efficiency, and then the ability to bring renewables to generate on-site your power completed the sustainability process for us as housing developers. And so that was the idea in the beginning. Okay. And through that process, we found that solar really is a difference maker.
Yeah, no, so why? What does solar bring to the table that you felt really enhanced that development?
Well, as a developer, we measure several things, and one of them is our net operating income. So sure. As an owner, we look for ways to increase our revenue and decrease our expenses, thereby increasing our net operating income on any development project. So it's a very sound financial approach. And we go to bed with a 100-unit property, and we look for ways to get more value out of that. And so solar, reducing costs, makes a total difference.
All right. Excellent. Let's talk about some specifics about some of the projects that you've done. Do you want to explain something, maybe the size of the system and where it's located, and maybe the impact it had on some of the residents?
Sure. We embarked on our multifamily renewable energy portfolio, is what we call it. It's 200 units of affordable housing on the south side of Chicago, in the Bronzeville and Inglewood communities. We have project-based Section 8, which is government housing. We have low-income housing tax credit properties, which is another source of subsidized housing. Yeah. And we have market rate housing. And so we took on the challenge of seeing and identifying ways to maximize the opportunity there. We were able to bring solar to a 55-unit project-based Section 8 deal where we put on a 16-kilowatt system that we ran the power into the laundry facility that offset the cost for the residents, so we could allow them to dry for free their clothes in the laundry facility, as well as bringing down the cost and adding more value to the property as a whole. So that's how we impacted that.
Yeah, excellent. Do you want to add anything? Anything that Van missed in that?
Well, total, we have put in 70 kilowatts on 7 different buildings, and just the opportunity to do that, it's been amazing. One of our buildings in particular, we've got a bill with 0 charge on it. It's running through the common area, and we consider that a success.
That's a definite success. So what do the residents, are they aware of the solar up there? Do they care? Do they like it? What are their reactions?
We believe that the residents, they get it. Part of what we do in our core philosophy is bringing economic development and opportunities to non-traditional environments, to urban centers that generally would not be seen as a fertile ground for renewable energy. Yeah. It's unheard of. And so through this process, we've been able to educate the residents and the tenants, and we hire from the core tenant group and from the communities that we're in. So we kind of look to speak to the triple bottom line, if you will. It's just not the economics, but it's how we impact the communities. Our climate and sustainability clearly is one of our highest priorities. So everything we do lends to speaking to sustainability. So how do we create jobs and make them sustainable? So we hire from the communities that we're in. So I think the residents clearly are impacted by that.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are some of the challenges of this kind of development? I mean, it can't be that simple or everybody would be doing it, right?
I would say that, as everyone knows, with scale comes economies. So when we're dealing with smaller projects, anywhere from a 10 to 30 kilowatt system, you don't have the type of scale. So it requires a delicate balance of pencil sharpening. So part of our challenge was to put together the right balance of incentives, the right balance of equity, and the right balance of relationships. It takes something. Chicago is the town where you got to get it right. You know, they're not interested in moving forward, and it doesn't show who we are as a city. We're a world-class city, and so I think the city has now come to a point where they've got the policy in place, they've got the idea around the incentives and how they want to roll it out, and so we were on the front end of that. Some of these projects that we took on were pre-Sunshot. And I think everybody knows that the Sunshot was here to bring down cost and expedite the process to make it such that housing and buildings here in the city of Chicago could really get the impact without the cost. And so we took on some of those hurdles and challenges. We won a few, and you know, we didn't do so well on some others. So nothing goes without a challenge, and we love a challenge, and so we succeeded in that.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, well, so what are you working on now? What are some of your next projects? What are we going to see from you guys?
Well, it's not a job, but I'd like to acknowledge my partner here. He was nominated for to come visit the White House for a veteran in clean energy, so that's up next in a couple weeks, and that's something that I am very proud of him, and being someone committed to making a difference, not only, you know, in the military, but in affordable housing and in, you know, for the environment as a whole. So I will say that we're going to just continue to make a difference for the environment and the work that we do. But to further that.
Yeah, from a project perspective, we operate on 3 platforms. The first is multifamily. Given that in urban areas, 70, and particularly in Chicago, 70% of our carbon footprint comes from buildings. And so the city of Chicago has just passed a tremendous ordinance around benchmarking energy consumption. And so we're going to work with the city on that and roll that out as it relates to our multifamily solar and how we can impact that. In the commercial realm is the second space we operate in. We've identified some targets that we're sharpening our pencil on in the commercial space. Institutionally, that's all I can really say at this point. But look to hear from them in the near future.
Okay.
And lastly, urban centers for us is our target because that's where the people are. We don't have a lot of the transmission issues because it's right there. And so being able to scale in an urban center is really a sexy idea for us. And so that's an area that we're going to be going into in the near future. And if you guys stay around a while, you're going to hear about those different opportunities here in Chicago.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. Sounds like you're up to great stuff, and really glad to hear about it.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us.